Welcome to Long Story Long. I'm your host, Lisa Curry. Today's guest is the hilarious London-based comedian Maria Shehata. Maria is the co-host of the Two Non-Doctors podcast, and you can also catch her on Dave TV's Guide to Life. This was so fun to record, and I think you're really going to love it. Here you go. Hey, Maria, how are you?
I'm good. I think we're doing it. I'm proud of us.
Yeah. This is, there's endless problems with Zoom recordings, and I cannot wait to be done with this, I guess, although it's a nice tool to have during pandemic and everything, you know?
Lifesaver. It's such a lifesaver.
Yeah. So you're in London right now. How is that? How are things going?
Things are good. Things are starting to open up a bit, although, like, experts always ruin it. So it's like the government's like, be free, and then scientists are like, you're gonna die. So like everybody's like, should we be happy right now? No. So we might have a third wave. We might all be back in our little holes again. But for now, I'm enjoying it because the weather's nice, going to the pool, all that stuff. So it's been good. Oh, shows are back.
Yeah, you have a lot of gigs coming up.
Yeah.
I feel like every time I look at your Instagram or something, I'm like, holy shit, you've got 600 shows coming up. What is going on? It's awesome.
It is awesome. And and then it's just like, they just sort of come in and then I'm like, oh my God, I have a lot of shows. I should brag. I should make everyone jealous. And so that's what I do.
Absolutely. Is there one in particular or a couple that you're like really looking forward to this year?
I'm going to Dubai in December. So.
I love it. I'm so jealous. I'm enraged with jealousy.
Well, I wanted to ask you that because I know that you're like dying to go there, but like why?
I don't know. Just because it seems so mysterious, and I mean, it's not really. This sounds so lame, but I have a lot of my friends have been, and so it's like not that big of a deal. But like, I love to travel, and yeah, there's something about the Middle East that just is a little bit more exciting.
I know what it is. It's just that much out of reach for most people. Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
so
exactly.
It's like, it's almost like a little bit like clout. It's like, oh, look, yeah. I mean,
if they were doing a show in Antarctica, I'd be like, well, I have to, obviously, get to Antarctica. It's like wherever fewer people have been is where I want to go.
Yeah. I get that.
That's my whole thing.
Well, you better hurry because I'm going to conquer all the places before you get there. And you're going to be
like,
Maria's already here. Yeah, my headshot's already on the wall. You're like, fuck this bitch.
I love it. So you grew up in Ohio. Where exactly in Ohio did you grow up?
Assumption Drive? No. Edit that.
Thank you.
I was in Columbus. So I was in a suburb of Columbus.
Yeah. And when you were growing up, did you know you wanted to get into comedy?
No, I'd never even seen stand-up till I was like 16 or 17 or something. And then, do you remember back in the day on Comedy Central, there was a whole string of Comedy Central Presents full of like just amazing people, right?
Yes.
Do you remember that it was like Kathleen Madigan and Jim Gaffigan and Nick Swartzen and Bill Burr and like that whole like era, like Dane Cook. And so I started getting, like, I think Jim Gaffigan's special was the first stand-up special I'd ever seen.
Really?
And yeah, I saw it on prom night too. So it was like we were all...
While you were getting fingered.
Yeah, I was getting fingered and I was just watching Jim Gaffigan and laughing. It was a whole weird mix of emotions happening. And no, I wasn't. I was so lame. But like just a group of friends, we got a hotel room and like partied, like after partied at a hotel room. And like, yeah, people were like making out around me and I'm just like flipping through the TV because I'm such a dork. I hadn't gone to prom with a boyfriend. I went with a friend. And so it's just like, I'm like, and then like Jim Gaffigan, his special was on and I just started watching it. I was like, oh my God, this is so great. Guys, you got to watch this. You probably don't want to watch it right now.
I love that you said after party in like a sentence that immediately followed by watching Jim Gaffigan's special. Like Jim Gaffigan isn't watching his special at an after party. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
Changed my life though. Like, yeah.
Really? Wait, so when you watched it, were you like, that's what I want to do? Talk about hot dogs or whatever.
No, I didn't even because I didn't even know what it was as an art form. I was just like, this is so like, I didn't know you could just stand on stage and tell jokes about your life. And I just was amazed by it. And like when you're watching stand up, I think the things you relate to, or you're just like, I feel that way. That's hilarious. I never thought about, and so I was just, I was just excited that there was something like that I was connecting with. And, you know, after I graduated college, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And
what'd you study in school?
Retail merchandising. So I went for dietetics. I wanted to get into nutrition. And then I was so bad at science that they sat me down and they were like, you're really bad at science. And I don't think this is for you.
They're like, we have to have an intervention.
They had to sit me down to be like, we don't think this is for you. And so I was like, well, what? They're like, what do you want to do? I was like, I don't know. And so I was like, where do most of my credits transfer into? And they were like, you could do interior design. And I was like, great. Turns out I'm also bad at art. And so like, that sort of just careened me into retail merchandising, which is like, I majored in shopping. Like, so like
that's hysterical.
My thesis paper was on early 90s fashion, which was me watching episodes of Friends and talking about scrunchies. And so it's just like, amazing. I was like, just get me out of here. Just give me the degree, get me the fuck out of here. Yeah. And so I remember I was driving back, like diploma on my passenger side. And like, I was like, I don't know. I don't want to do this. I don't want a 9-to-5 job. And then something in my brain was like, well, why don't you work at the comedy club? And I was like, okay, actually. And so straight from college to the comedy club. And I was just following my instincts. You know, those moments when you're like, I don't know, this is all intuition. Yeah. I don't know what's going on, but I'm here. And I was like, I'm here to apply for a job.
No one can sit you down and tell you you're not good at working at a comedy club.
Yeah, right. I can't fail out of that. Yeah, they're not like, you're not good at comedy club. Like, you're just not good at... But it turns out I wasn't good at comedy club because, like, waiting tables is very hard. And so I was like, give me a job. You know, I didn't say that. I was like, you know, are you hiring? And she was like, no. And I was like, that's weird because, like, all of my instincts told me to come here. So, like, I don't understand why I'm now being met with a wall. I like this story. I have no idea if it's actually interesting, but I'm going to tell it anyway. And so... I was like, well, can I have an application? She was like, I guess, you know, but like, we're not hiring. Here's your application. Goodbye. And I was hungry. So I went to Chipotle, which was like the other side of the mall. And at Chipotle was the manager of the Funny Bone who I'd met. Like, I'd seen a couple live shows and I'd met him. And I was like, oh, hey, I was just at the Funny Bone. I was applying for a job, but you're not hiring. He was like, yes, we are. We're hiring for box office. I was like, oh, because the lady at the box office told me you were hiring. He was like, we are. So basically what happened was there was only 2 applicants because I guess she'd told everybody they weren't hiring. And the other guy didn't show up. So I got the job. And
just that's by default?
Yeah. And so I'm like still careening in my life, by the way, like careened into retail merchandising. And now I'm just careening into the world of comedy. And so that's what got me started in the whole thing.
That's awesome. And then... So you were working at the box office at the Funny Bone in Columbus, and did you enjoy that? Or were you like, I need something more?
No, I loved it. I was taking it all in. I was like, you know, because the box office was like daytime hours and end of the night, you know, like as you're seating people. But so during the day, if I worked in the box office, I would just take some calls from comedians or from people who wanted to book. But I got to watch stand-up on Comedy Central during the day on the TV they had. And then at night, I would just stay after my shift and just watch the comics. And so I was just watching all the... I was like such a super fan. And like you meet those super fans now and you're like, chill out. But like I was that person. Like talking to all the comics. Like, oh, so you come from New York? What's that like? You know, it's just like this annoying thing that attached. Tell me like about the world outside. Yeah. Like tell me about life outside of Ohio. And,
yeah. Wait, had you not traveled outside of Ohio at this point?
I'd been to Egypt and I'd been to Denver. But I hadn't like those, you know,
very similar places. That was probably the same trip. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, just on my way to Egypt, I stopped through Denver. And but like I was just so I guess around that time, so I was getting into comedy. A lot of the comedians I was watching and loving were from New York. I got on the forums. So there was like the Cringe Humor Forum, and there were just like message boards and stuff that comedians were on. Mm-hmm. And I just sort of like started talking to people in New York, and, you know, you'd hear from the comedians and from people on message boards how much stage time there was there and all that stuff. And I was just like, this sounds like an amazing place. Like, and I wanted to do comedy at this point, but like, I was still like, I never thought I could do it. So I was like, maybe I could be a manager or an agent. So I was kind of thinking on those terms, but I was absorbing everything. I'd watch the comedian documentary and the commentary like over and over and over again. And just like whatever I could do to learn and find out more about this whole world. So
I love it.
Just in every direction, talking to people, message boards, documentaries. There was a 2-drink minimum magazine that I'd subscribed to.
I've never even heard of this. This is amazing.
I have like an old copy somewhere in my room, but yeah. So it's just like a sponge and then it took me about a year and a half of I would just go and sit at open mics and just watch the comedians, and people are like, when are you getting on stage? I'm like, oh, I don't know. I don't really have anything. I don't know. You know? And, but I was writing with the open micers, and I was hanging out, and like, you know, but I couldn't do it. And then finally my friend Jason, he's in New York. Jason Cantor, but he signed me up because he was hosting an open mic, and he just signed me up at the Scarlet and Gray Cafe. It was on OSU's campus. And I was like way down on the list. So I was going to get on stage late at a campus bar. And you know, like campus bar open mics.
That sounds terrible. That sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah, I was shitting myself. So I just had a lot of Jaeger. And I went up. And I still have this recording on like one of those like little mini tape recorders somewhere.
Oh my God.
I don't even know if it still plays, but it's so old. But and I went on stage, and I got like they laughed, but it felt like out of pity almost, because I was so nervous, and I was just like, words were just coming out of my face. Just like, but I wasn't there. I was just saying things, and I'm like getting through it. And I think they just had such pity on me that people like, they didn't heckle me. They were just like, I got a little bit of laughs, but I think I just needed to like get it out of the way. I think I needed to just like, cause I was building up going on stage for that first time so high up, like in my mind, I was like building it up that it was just becoming too mythical. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I talk to everybody.
Because I think before you go on stage the first time, you're like, I think that you see people doing it really well, like Jim Gaffigan or Kathleen Madigan, and it feels like magic that they're doing. You know, it's not like,
yeah.
It's like, that's not a thing that I can do. You can't train for that. And you also, like, you never, like, when you're first starting out, you don't know how much work goes into it, which, you know, I'm sure most people would quit if you knew how much fucking work it is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If somebody was like, oh, you'll do it for like 17 years and maybe have like one credit, I'd be like, I'm not doing that. But like, I remember like watching these live shows and just looking at these comedians and like looking at the audience. It's 300 people who were in the room, and just them just laughing, just crying, and just thinking like, that's got to be the most amazing feeling. That's so powerful. But like, and you're doing good. You're making people happy. You're making them laugh. And I'm just sitting in the, like this. I was always on the side of the stage like that. I had like my stool, and it was just like in awe of it. I couldn't believe that anyone could do that. And then cut to me now, I'm like, I don't know, who gives a shit? But back then, I thought it was godlike.
That's so like, after you did your first open mic, were you like, did you immediately feel like you wanted to stick with it? Or was it like, well, we'll see what happens?
Yeah, this is kind of stupid, but I cried. I was like, I've done it. Like, I got over the major hurdle.
Oh, I love that. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it wasn't like the most amazing set. I didn't die. I conquered that fear, and I got it out of the way, and I just wanted to keep doing it. And I did comedy in Columbus for about 6 months, but I'd always wanted to move to New York. Like, well, since I'd gotten into comedy and started like taking in everything New York. So I contacted my cousins in Staten Island, and I was like, can I come stay with you? And they said yes. I don't know why. So nice of them. They're like, sure. And I told my dad and mom, I was like, well, you know, I have a degree in retail merchandising, and like all the stores are in New York. Like, I didn't tell them it's because I wanted to do comedy.
You're just gaslighting them?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I never tell them anything about stand-up. They just find out through, like, I think the Columbus Dispatch outed me. Because I had moved to New York to get a job, quote unquote. And I was doing comedy over there. And then I had a friend who worked at the Dispatch, and she was like, somebody wants to do an article on you about how, like, you know, this Columbus girl moved to New York to do stand-up. And it did. And then my dad's reading the paper like, what is this?
I love that, like, your parents find out through press, you know? It's not like...
Oh, yeah. when my engagement broke up, they found out through the New York Times article I wrote about it. Like,
oh my God, are you serious?
I mean,
Maria,
I'm exaggerating a little bit, but like they read that.
I love the idea of you just only communicating for your to your parents through media, and you're like, well, tune in to ABC this fall. Thursdays at 9 to find out what's going on with my life.
Right. That's why I'm glad I'm doing this podcast. I have something to say to my parents, Mom.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's great. Wait, so when you got to New York, did you just dive right in?
Yeah. So I got, I had a binder and I filled it full of like notebook paper. And I wrote down, I went through the Time Out New Yorks, and I'd go to shows and then ask people about shows. But I wrote down all the open mics, how much they were, because it was either like pay to perform or you'd have to buy 2 drinks or whatever. How much time you got, where in the city they were. So I've got like my map, and I've got this list, so I can figure out like how to maximize as much stage time as possible Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. While I'm doing this, my aunt and uncle, who are now in charge of me, I mean, I was 25, but they were like, we need you. I mean, New York's a big city. We're not comfortable with you coming home late. We need you home by 8 p.m. And I was like, no. Yeah.
First of all, 8 p.m., you've graduated college. You're a retail machine right now. Yeah. On paper. Like, 8 p.m. is an absurd time to ask a 10-year-old to be home, let alone an adult.
I know. And, like, I have some sympathy for them because they're looking after, their niece. It's not, they don't want me to die under their watch. Like, I can understand that. But at the same time, like, that wasn't working for what I was trying to do. And so, I called my parents, and my dad was like, well, just come home then. And I was like, no. So I had a job I was working with like 4 headhunters, and I found an office job. And a girl I was working with was like, why don't you come live on my couch? And so I moved out of Staten Island into like the garbage on the Upper East Side because she had this basement apartment. And it was a 1-bedroom railroad apartment.
Oh, wow.
And the window, it was like a half a window, and it looked out onto the garbage cans.
And you were like, this is paradise.
This is paradise. And it was like another kind of like lame moment, but I still feel kind of good about it, is that it was on Independence Day. So it was like, this is I
love that. Wait, so where are you working at this point?
I was working at a company. It was like a hedge fund, and it was on 56th and 5th. And it was beautiful. It was a beautiful office. It was like on the 46th floor, and it was overlooking Central Park. And it's just... Oh, nice. Just owned by the richest family. And who my boss, he was so cool. He liked me because I did well on the personality test, but I always do well on personality tests because I know how to answer the personality tests. You just know what people are looking for. Because I'm psychotic.
It's also like, I don't know who is failing these. Like sometimes when I see these, some of the questions on a personality test, it'll be like, true or false. Sometimes I haul off and punch a hole in the wall, and it's like, say false, guys. Just say false. That you don't do that,
Yeah, that's so true. I'm like, I was surprised that he was like, oh, you did great on that. I'm like, how could you not? How could you not? But I was like, but then I took it in as like, I guess I'm just well adjusted on paper, and so he hired me even though I had comedy club experience, and like. Oh, like I remember interviewing for jobs, and this I only say he's Indian because it seems like immigrants generally tend to go for, like, my parents, doctor, lawyer, engineer, like these professional jobs. And so this Indian man was like interviewing me, and I'm telling him about my comedy club experience. He was like, comedy club? And I was like, yeah, so I worked in the box office at a comedy club, and like, I was like playing up. I was executive assistant to I'm just bullshitting this guy. And he's just like wondering what I'm doing sitting across from him. He was like, comedy club, like, and it was for, I think, an executive assistant. He's like,
I don't even understand these words going together.
Yeah, and then for no reason at all, he was like, do you have any siblings? I was like, I have an older brother. And he was like, so there are 2 of you. I didn't even know what that meant.
What? Did he think maybe your brother was going to come fill in for you sometimes?
I don't know what impression I was making on him, but just like I just felt like I was like this huge fuck up sitting across from him, and like he was like, so your parents raised two fuck ups is what I'm hearing. Like, I don't know.
He's like, what's going on? Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember, like, my boss, he was on Letterman, like, way, like, in the 1970s, or whenever Letterman first got his job, and I guess they needed guests. Mm-hmm. And I wish I've been looking all over YouTube for the footage. I can't find it, but I did see it when I worked there, because someone had it, and he was just a guest on Letterman because he had family in Colombia, and I forget what the connection was, but they were like, call your family in Colombia. And so he, like, calls them. Like, this is a finance guy. He's not a comedian or anything.
Like, he like doesn't even understand the concept of a comedy club, but he's got a Letterman credit that everyone in the world wishes they had. Cool. Thanks, dude.
Oh, sorry. So, like, yeah, those are two separate guys. The guy who didn't hire me, but the guy who did like my personality, like, kind of had like this like he was just like, oh, I was on Letterman. I'm like, whoa, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's funny. So you're working at this finance place, doing spots in New York. Did you love New York right away, or were you like, did it feel tough?
Oh, I loved it. I hit the ground running. I loved it, and it was tough in a good way. I was just, New York still, like, I'm still in awe of it. I'll just walk around that city being like, Jesus, it's beautiful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So enamored with it. Just like even the urine smell. And I know a lot of people say that, but it's just, you just love it. But I was also like bright-eyed and I would be on the ferry. When I was living in Staten Island, I'd go from the ferry to Manhattan to get to work. Just so excited. But by like a few months later, because I would look around at people and be like, what's everybody's problem? Because everybody's kind of like, it's the morning, they're on the ferry, and it's this trip they made every day. But I was just like, the Statue of Liberty's right there. The Lower Manhattan, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
Why are you guys all like
feel that
minds
way.
blown?
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you make the trip
so
enough
excited.
times and you're just...
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I was in love with New York. And, I was starting a new relationship then, too. And I loved it.
How long were you in New York?
Just under 4 years. And I was doing the shows. I'd run a show at Joe Franklin's Comedy Club, which was this terrible comedy club. It was in the back of a restaurant in Times Square called Charlie O's. And they did not like the comedy. And so we were just
all
like...
of this sounds like a night. Times Square is the worst place on earth.
Everything about it was so shit. And so like they didn't pay any attention to the comedy. We had one mic that didn't have a cord and it would cut out at the punchlines. Like it was trying to. Like it would cut out at punchlines. The audience was always like, we would like flyer them in. Half the time they didn't speak English because we would just be doing our set and then they wouldn't be laughing. They'd just be staring at us. And then somebody would inevitably find out they didn't even speak English. And it's just like two Dutch people going. And when people flyer, have you ever flyered like barked?
I haven't. But I didn't, by the time I was doing spots in New York, I'd established myself a little bit in LA. So I didn't have to bark people into shows.
Oh, okay.
So I kind of missed that. I mean, I still have to fucking promote things, but not on the street to strangers, fortunately. It
was such a rite of passage, but it was really hard. And you're just out there for hours trying to get people into and that's what you did for stage time. And, people just ignore you. And then so you'd start to like kind of be, some people would just straight up lie. Like Dave Chappelle's on the show,
Oh yeah. I've seen flyers in New York that are like, come see Tina Fey. And I'm like, she has literally never done stand-up. That doesn't even make sense. Yeah.
But what most people did was say like, the show that like Chappelle and Chris Rock have been on at one point, but you sort of bury that. And
so it's so vague. It's like, I mean, honestly, the Pope could have been on the fucking show with the qualifications you give.
Yeah. And so, right. And so like people come expecting Chris Rock and like there's this one show called The World and it was literally 20 barkers and then one headliner who was like medium level and they would never get, and I would host those and I would be like, you're going to love your next comedian. I know I've lied to you for the past 18. Please don't leave.
Like, this is a close friend of mine. That's like that's the most hilarious and deceitful intro with like for a crowd when you're like, this next person coming up, great friend of mine, hilarious comic. You've seen him all over. It's like just one line of bullshit after the next.
It's because they have no credits. There's nothing to say about him. So you're
exactly.
like, performs all over. Yeah, so I ran the show at Joe Franklin's, and I would go down to the cellar with absolutely no self-awareness whatsoever and just be like, Bill Burr, do you want to do my show at Joe Franklin's? And like Tom Papa and Bill Burr and Jim Gaffigan and all those guys, they would come. And us open micers who are like 2 years in are just like, this is awesome, you know? And then the mic would cut out at their punchline, and it was just all so fucking awful.
Wait, and you knew Bill from Ohio, right?
Yeah, he came through Ohio, and I was like, so what happened was he was coming on the Rich Bitch tour. So when he was doing Dave Chappelle, like the Chappelle Show, it was supposed to be him, Charlie Murphy, and Donnell Rawlings. And Charlie Murphy canceled Columbus. And so working in the box office, I had to call everybody who had reservations to tell them that Charlie Murphy canceled.
Oh, no.
And most people wanted to cancel, but I was watching Bill's special on Comedy Central, and I was like, but Bill Burr's coming, and he's hilarious. You got to see him. Like, this guy's so funny. And some people stayed, some people canceled. And, and I was just like, oh, yeah. And, like I told him, I was like, I was rallying everybody. I told him to come see you because you're so funny. And, like, I got a CD from him and he signed it and it was nice. But I did the thing I do with all the acts where I'm like, oh, so I want to do comedy sometime. And I was wondering if you have any advice, and he was just like, oh, you never, he's like, just do it. You're thinking too much about it, which was right. I was thinking way too hard about it.
Yeah.
And, like, not just, he was like, just do it. And I knew like Greg Giraldo through Columbus. And so I went to, when I went to New York, and I remember Greg Giraldo saw me and he was like, I was talking about like, I want to go to New York one day. And like, he saw me at the cellar and he was on his way to the bathroom and he stopped and saw me. He's like, you made it, and gave me this huge hug, and I was just,
oh, I love it.
He was the nicest. He was like, he was just like the nicest older brother type,
He was the fucking greatest. I wish I could have met him. That was a tough loss. He was really great.
Yeah.
So that's also so crazy that you go from Columbus to New York and two excellent comedians when you get there. It's not like two assholes that moved there right before you. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Everybody was so like nice and encouraging. I'm trying to think of who else, but like Greg Giraldo put me on. I was hanging out at the cellar, and there was a show called Friday Night with Greg Giraldo, and he was like, "Do you want to be on it?" And I was like, "Sure." And he put me on that show, and he gave me a line that was about like Jews and Palestinians that probably out of his mouth would have been much funnier.
Well, I'm glad. Well, you have that forever now. You could cherish it.
I just want to go on record saying that was Greg's line.
Sure. Blame the dead.
Yeah.
Anytime I offend you, it's a joke that I was given by to me by somebody who is long dead. So
yeah, I'm just keeping the memory alive.
Yeah. So are Jews and Palestinians, it turns out. They are keeping the memory of everything alive. This also like how funny that was, however many years ago. And here we are. Good callback, Middle East.
Nothing's changed. Yeah.
Excellent callback. So you're in New York. You're loving it. You're there for 4 years. Why did you leave New York?
I wasn't tied down to anything. I wasn't in a relationship anymore. I had been doing the scene for 4 years. I'd gone to LA on a trip. I liked LA. I did a couple shows while I was out there, and I was like, why not move to LA? And I remember I was I was really debating in my mind. And when you start to say something out loud to people, it changes everything. You're just like, I think I'm doing this. And then I was on the 86th Street crosstown bus at night going home, and it was winter, and I was still debating. And then I was sitting there with my headphones on, and then this, I guess he was homeless guy, turned around and said something to me, and I took my headphones off, and I was like, I'm sorry. And he was like, what did he say? It was something really aggressive, like, I'm gonna cut you, bitch, like that kind of thing. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then
you're like, and you move. And he's like, I said I'm gonna fucking slice you up, and you're like, oh, sorry for
no, it wasn't kill
missing
you.
that.
It was actually, I'm going to kill you, bitch. It wasn't, I'm going to cut you. I'm going to kill you, bitch.
Perfect.
And so, yeah. Okay.
Good to keep it vague, because it's like, who knows what method is going to work, you know?
Absolutely. So it's like, this guy needs more space. So I got up to go to the back of the bus, and he got up, and then he tripped me. And then I went and I sat behind this couple, and this couple like had their newspaper, and they just lifted, this is so New York, they just lifted it up to be like, that's your problem. That's not our problem. We're reading the paper.
They're like, we're not trying to die in this too. Like, you'd go die in private. This is not, has nothing to do with us. Yeah.
So he's still screaming at me. So I go to get off the bus, but I have to pass him. And as I'm passing him, I don't know where he got it. I don't know, but he had a power bar he was chewing, and he spit it onto my coat. And I just remember it slapped onto my coat and then just kind of slid down.
No.
And I was like, take care. And then I was like, yeah, maybe LA. Maybe LA.
You're like, because in LA, like, if you're on the bus in LA and that happens, at least you step out into the sunshine, you know?
Yeah. And you're never on the bus, let's face it.
And you're probably not wearing a coat either.
Yeah. Just, yeah. So that was like, that was honestly my deciding factor. I was like, I am going.
That guy changed the trajectory of your life.
Yeah.
I love it. Wait, so did you know anyone in LA when you went out there?
I was supposed to move with. Do you know who Maisel Zayed is?
No idea.
Oh, okay. She's a Palestinian comedian. Very funny. So she was going to go out for a little bit, so we were going to share a place. And Bill Burr was already out there, so I knew him. And then I had already gone out there to like do shows, so I'd met some people, and but I didn't really know anyone else, you know. And Maisel ended up not coming, so I'm staying in this apartment that didn't have heat. And you wouldn't think you would need heat in LA, but it was February, and I needed heat.
You do need heat,
And it was do you know where it was on, like Wilcox and like Hollywood like area?
Yeah,
so,
I used to live right there.
Yeah, so like, so Hollywood Boulevard, like the windows were facing Hollywood Boulevard, I think, but like around the corner was a liquor store, and that was like the scariest liquor store. So it was be like, oh, I'm on Hollywood Boulevard, LA. This is amazing and glamorous, but it wasn't.
It's the worst
scary
part of
shit.
the whole city, yeah.
yeah. And so I got on Craigslist, and I found a place in West Hollywood, and
Nice. And did you love that right away, or were you like, what the fuck is this?
It had a pool. Like, LA was amazing. And then my place, I called it the half because it was like 1, 2, 2, 3.5. But like, I moved in with this guy named Tom, and then I thought it was just going to be us two because the third girl was in New York. But then, unbeknownst to me, she was getting a third person to move into. It was a 3-bedroom, but I was like, oh, we'll have 2 people in a 3-bedroom. That's great. And a pool. And then the third person, she started sending people to look at the place. And I was like, fuck that. Like, you didn't tell me I would be living with a third person. But the third person ended up being my friend today. And she lives in London. She's from London. Oh. My friend Olivia. So, so she's like, so this beautiful, she's like, I'm a comedian too. And she's like a beautiful 5'8", English accent, blonde, skinny. I'm like, go fuck yourself. You know what I mean? Like, you're not allowed to be a comedian. And she wasn't like a stand-up. She was like a comedic actress and a host. And, but yeah, we just were instant. The 3 of us were just, you know, instant friends. We had dinner parties and pool parties and like hung out poolside. Like, it was just like so dreamy. And then she moved back because she had a show on Comedy Central, but we kept in touch. And anyway, like, we're still friends to this day.
That's great. And then, so how long were you in LA?
7 years. 7 years?
And what made you, I mean, I know, but for the audience, like what, actually, no, when's the first time you went over to London and went overseas and did shows over there? What made you do that?
I think it was 2013 or 14. I think 2012 maybe. It was like somewhere in there. I had started to do military shows. So like military tours. So I had this tour and like, oh my God, like I was working at BJ's as a bartender. You know the place in Culver City?
Oh yeah.
And like, God, I hated my life. And I was just, you know how like, I don't know. And I was just like, this tour came out of nowhere. And I was going to like Italy and Turkey and England was one of them. We went to Germany. We went to Kosovo. Like I was going fucking everywhere suddenly. And I'd been watching Anthony Bourdain. So I was like, oh my God, I'm like going to be the female Anthony Bourdain. This is unfucking believable. But anyway, so I finagled it to like stay in London after that tour and stay with Olivia, who I'd lived with. And, you know, and then I just, I started reaching out. My first show was in London was like called Monkey Business, which is still going on. But
I'm familiar. Yeah.
yeah. So, so I just, you know, you start reaching out and emailing people. And then Liz, she was going to Spain for something. So I was like, you should come to London too. So we both started doing the like London circuit at the same time. Mm-hmm. And we both did Angel Comedy at Camden Head. And there was a girl named Julia, I want to say Julia Cameron, but I feel like that's the Artist Way woman. Sorry, I forgot your name. But she saw us and she offered us, like, there's a club called Jongleurs, so it's not there anymore. Mm-hmm. But she offered us a bunch of weekends at Jongleurs, like a few months later or something. And, you know, gigs in London pay. And so around the UK, so like we got, I mean, they were spread apart over like a month and like 6 weeks, but we were getting paid. And so that would at least cover like the flight and the trip. And then we could start doing other shows and making more money from that. But that's what launched us both, was that woman like booking us at Jongleurs.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so I'm assuming you just fell in love with London right away.
I did. I loved it. Oh, the audiences here are just, you know.
They're so good. They're so excited to watch comedy.
They're so good. And they're so, oh my God, they're up for it. They're out. Mm-hmm. They think it's fun. And it's like, it's a thing. It's not like, I don't know, but like, it just suddenly comedy was fun again, because I was in LA for 7 years. The audiences in LA are like either other comedians or just people who, like, if you're not famous, they don't really care. Yeah. You know? And I was just doing shitty gig after shitty gig. I didn't even like stand-up anymore. And then I started doing a web series. I was like, maybe I want to act and like, you know, make a TV show. And I was just falling out of it. And then London made me love it again. And I was like, oh, I want to do this more. And I had already been like I was already jaded about LA. I felt like I was in a bubble. I didn't feel like I was living real life anymore. Mm-hmm. And, you know, with comedy, you kind of want to feel connected. Like, I already feel disconnected because I'm living a life that most people don't live. So it's like, I'm not doing the 9 to 5, kids, family, shit like that. And on top of that, I'm in LA. I'm like, what am I even talking about? But London it was just so, like, I just felt supported and loved. And like, I did the show at the book club, and then like a friend of a friend brought a bunch of friends out, and then we all hung out after, and it just had this familial feeling, and like everybody was just sort of together. And, you know, even like London, like Sunday roasts where everybody gets together at a pub on a Sunday by a fireplace and orders meals and just hangs out all day. This sort of culture of being together and like hanging out. Like, I loved that. I wanted it more, because I didn't really have that in LA. Yeah. Like, we were together for the hiking, and, you know, like I had a group of friends that we would like hike and write and go to open mics, but that started to dissipate a little bit anyway.
LA has weirdly more of like it doesn't have like the hangout culture that like New York and London have and other big cities. And I think it's because we just have more space. So people stay at home more because their apartment is huge, where it's like no one stays home in New York. And it's not because they're like, I mean, I guess it is because they're like very social people, but also like when your apartment is 3 feet by 4 feet, what the fuck are you staying home for?
Absolutely. You know? Absolutely. If you're comfortable. Yeah. LA, like, I mean, when I was staying at the Half, like we had a pool, my room was huge. Like I loved my roommates, and like, I was like, I just want to hang out. Like when I'm comfortable at home, I don't want to go do comedy. So it's like, you have to have like a garbage apartment and make you want to do like have stage time. Like I've lived in so many different living situations, but the places that were like not fun, I was like, well, I'll go out, I'll have a drink, I'll smoke, I'll see people, I'll do some stage time. And like, you know, it was a whole thing. Yeah.
What made you make the move to London?
So for the audience. When I was, one of the times I was out here, I was like, I did Edinburgh, and then I was going to Paris and Stockholm. Another thing I love about London, you can just say that. Yeah. That's it's like the road a $4 here. Flight. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And, but on the last few days of my trip, I'd met somebody, and we just kind of stayed, I flew home, but we stayed in contact over FaceTime. So we were like texting, and then it was like, hey, do you want to get on FaceTime? So then we started FaceTiming every night for months. And then, so we got into a relationship before we'd even kissed. And and then he came out to LA a few times, like 3 times. And by the 3rd time, he proposed to me because I was just going to go to London for the summer. But I was like, well, we're engaged. Why don't I move? So that's what brought me to London initially.
And then you got there and were like, fuck off.
Well, people change. No, but kind of. Like,
well, it's also harder, like, being with somebody all the time and being around them. It's a much different experience than just checking in at night.
We were both getting into it for the wrong reasons. I think, like, we both wanted to just feel sort of normal. Like, just have these normal lives that was eluding both of us. Just as comedians, as... he has his own shit that I don't think is fair to go into, but like, I think we both just, I remember Mark Maron saying this about his first marriage. It's like, he's like, we both just wanted to be okay. And I think we both just wanted to be okay in like our family's eyes and other people's eyes. So we're like, that's the normal thing to do. Get engaged, get married. But like, you get to know each other in a real way. And just became incompatible.
That's fair.
I joke that it's because he shaved his beard, and I was like, "Whoa," because beards change your face. But like, it was fine. I mean, it was difficult, but like, it was for the best.
Yeah, and it's so cool that is what got you to make the move to London, because you're now, by all accounts, thriving over there. And especially like, I've talked to comics there when I've visited, like, because people are so helpful, and I've always offered, like, oh, if you're ever in LA, like, let me know and I'll set you up with shows. And they're like, what? Nothing out there pays. Why would I come to LA? And I'm like, oh yeah, why would you? Like, why would you say it? Like, at this point, I feel ridiculous being in LA because I'm like, what am I doing here? I mean, I know what I'm doing. I'm getting some things here and there, but it's also like, just nightly shows just don't pay anything. Or they might pay $5, where something in London will pay £50, and it's like, well, that's money you can eat with. You can do something with £50.
Yeah, absolutely, and then I mean, even here, people are like, oh, back in the day, you could really make a living from this, and you still can. It's just, I think a lot has changed. And there's like such huge differences between the two places, and I've gone into it in so many different podcasts, but like, I just think the comedians here, like, for them to say, why would I do that? It's just like, I think the goals are different. I think
yes, absolutely.
So it's just like, here there's this, like, we have the road and they have the circuit, and that's the same. It's sort of like the comedians who just sort of do the clubs, get the paychecks, and that's what they do. And then there's the Edinburgh comedians, and like that route, and like that's sort of the LA people who are like trying to do the TV and the things. But the TV and the things here are like, get on a panel show, become a known name. Like, your name, you become like a personality that people know, and then you get on all the things to the point where people are like, I'm so sick of this person, because you're on all the shows now, and then you tour and you get the money from touring. But it's not, I don't know, it's not like in America, because you have writers' rooms, like that could be a goal, is like to get into a writer's room in those jobs, and they don't have writers' rooms here. If you're creating a show here, it's like you and one other person. That's
it's a much smaller scale. Yeah, where here it's like hitting the lottery, getting in a writer's room. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. When you look back on things like, all of your going from Columbus to New York to LA to London, is there something that stands out that like either felt terrible at the time or felt insignificant that looking back really changed things for the better for you?
Well, I think it was like the insignificant would be going to Chipotle after
yes, totally.
Picking up an application. And I think the like really awful thing was like going through like the engagement and breakup, like moving countries for someone, having it not work out, and like just sort of like that time period was sort of dark. And but it got me, like, I'm here, and I am thriving here. I do love it, and I'm in a relationship now. I have an agent. Like, there's like, I'm getting all kinds of stage time. I'm like, I feel more in control of my own career here than I would in LA, because I feel like you could still be in control of your career in LA, but there's a lot of like other people needing to say yes, which you also need here, but I feel like it's more likely here. Like, there's less, it's just smaller. It's just, so it just feels like I'm being heard. And I don't think LA felt like, I always felt LA was like, I was in the audience at a concert, an arena, trying to get the band's attention.
Yes. Yeah, it does feel like that, especially because there's, and I don't know, maybe this does exist in London and I just haven't noticed it, but I feel like there's, along with, you know, people that are doing, the million people that are doing stand-up because they love stand-up, there's also a million people doing stand-up because their agent told them to for more exposure. Like, they're just actors, and their agent's like, well, you could be on stage more if you start doing open mics. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes. Yeah, sort of. But, like, stand-ups also do that to them because, like, stand-ups are, like, trying to get acting work. And I think I do like that crossover about LA because the stand-ups are actors. There is that crossover. But here, I mean, it's changing, but it does feel more like stand-up is stand-up path, acting is acting path. Like, it's like I have to tell my agent I want acting work, you know? Because he's like, oh, okay, you know?
It's like, we never would have thought that you'd want to perform in a different way.
It's not a given. It's like, I would think that was a given. It's just like, of course I want to be put out for roles. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. I have one last question for you, Maria. If your 11-year-old self, like your child self, could meet you, what do you think she would think of you?
I actually think she would like me. I think she would be like, of course. All right. I probably like 2 months ago might not have said that, you know, like I feel like I'm in a good place right now. So it's just like, yeah, I think, I think she would think like, well done. Not just doing the normal route, I guess. Yeah.
Do you think she'd be like, wow, like impressed with all the traveling too?
Yeah. When I was 11, I had a poster. When I was 11, I had a poster, and it was like this black and white poster with a character on a skateboard, and it was like one way, the other way, go your own way.
Yes, it's like the kids' version of those motivational posters you see in office buildings that'll be like, you know, a giant waterfall, and it's like, you can conquer anything if you conquer your fears. You know, like these, they're so corny, but it's like the starter pack for those kind of posters.
Exactly. And I must have internalized it though. So I'm like, bitch, I went my own way.
I love it. What's some stuff you have coming up?
I'm just doing live shows. Is that enough? Like, I don't know. Like, what do I have? That is
enough. That is enough. Yeah. Do you think you'll do Edinburgh next year? Because I'm asking selfishly because I plan to.
Oh, good. Then we should do it together. We should like get a place together too.
Absolutely.
So, Edinburgh, like Dubai in December. I'm gonna be like I'm going to like Glasgow and Nottingham and Oxford and where else? Birmingham, like August, September, October, and then around London. And I'm gonna be in DC. Mid-July, opening for Liz Mealy. So
I love it. That's going to be so great. Liz is the best. I mean, you're both the best. Well, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for coming on. It was really great to talk to you.
Thank you for having me. That was fun.
Thanks so much for listening. Once again, that was Maria Shehata. You can find her on Twitter and Instagram at Maria Shehata. It's Shehata. And I'm Lisa Curry. You can find me on Twitter at Lisa_Curry and on Instagram at olympianlisacurry. As always, if you're enjoying the podcast, please like, subscribe, leave a nice comment. If you don't like the podcast, please listen to something else. Don't torture yourself. See you next week. Bye.